if they didn't have a great justification. And perhaps back then there was an understanding that they were doing that that's been lost. So like the creation story, for example, a lot of people believe that that's a metaphorical story, that there's truth in the narrative, so to speak. This is like the Jordan Peterson view, that it's true so far as the message behind it, but it's not literal history. And I think that when I read Genesis, Genesis 1-3, that's the obvious interpretation I get from it, which is that it was never intended to be taken literally, but rather it's meant to be a metaphorical story. And I think that interpretation to a lot of young Earth creationists has been lost, where they think the whole thing is literal.
That's fair. That's fair. Ayatin says thousands of manuscripts exist with extremely high agreement, and the F differences did not impact meaning. The Canaan Bible does not contradict itself when studied deeply. No other work is like this. I think this is a shot fired at you, Jed, if you want to defend it, and then we can see if Frito has a response to yours.
Sure.
I kind of feel like that was almost directed at me.
I think it is. Well, I think it's in favor of the idea that the Bible is the canon Bible is authentic. Because it's saying it's free from contradictions. There's extremely high agreement. No other work never contradicts itself.
Okay. Yeah.
And we can both respond for sure. What I would say is that his assertion is entirely false. It doesn't matter how many manuscripts you have of the Bible. I mean, there's thousands of copies of Game of Thrones, but the number of copies you have of a book certainly has no impact on whether it's true. And the stories in the Bible that are repeated in multiple parts have extremely high disagreement. I talked a bit in my opening about 2 Samuel and 1 Chronicles, where both of those two books talk about the same event, the census of David. And at every point where they could contradict each other, they do contradict each other. Where one says God inspired the census or incited the census. The other one says that Satan incited the census. They disagree on the number of people that were counted in the census. So it doesn't stop there either. The Genesis 1 and 2 accounts of creation are in complete contradiction with each other. They get the order of events completely backwards. Genesis 1 says that plants were made first and then humans. And then Genesis 2, which is a retelling of the creation story, says that man was made first, and there were no plants on the earth at that time, and then God made plants. And the contradictions just go on and on. The Gospels are filled with contradictions. Did Jesus go to Egypt right after he was born, or did he go directly to Jerusalem? Depends on if you ask Luke or Matthew. So, yeah, there's tons of contradictions, but even if there were none, that still wouldn't prove it was divinely inspired, because lots of other books don't have contradictions. That doesn't mean that God wrote the words or inspired it.
Okay. And Frito, did you have a response to that?
I would maybe, I guess I do have something specific to say about Genesis 1 and 2, the plants being created. I have heard it argued that in the second creation narrative, God is giving kind of a function to to those plants which are going to be used in cultivation, whereas in the first creation account, it's just broadly God is giving a function to vegetation in general. I don't know exactly how faithfully I'm representing that interpretation, but I couldn't help myself. I just had to. Yeah. I just remembered. Yeah.
And I just pulled up Genesis 2 really quick, and what it says in verse 5. Let me back up. It says in verse 4, this is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created. And then in verse 5, it says, now no shrub had yet appeared on the earth, and no plant had yet sprung up, for the Lord had not sent rain to the earth, and there was no one to work the ground. And then in verse 7, he makes a man out of dirt. And then in verse 8, it says, now the Lord God had planted a garden in the east. So man was first, then he made a garden, and then he took man and put him in the garden.
So what I would say to that is, it seems like I would wonder like what I would probably this is outside of both of our jurisdiction, but like or areas like where plants are, or the Hebrew text, whether it's referring like is a like in the English, it seems like there's possibly a way you could get um like cultivated plants, because it's saying because like these plants did not exist because there was no one to work the fields. I just wonder if it's possible that uh yeah, I'm running out of words.
That's
Well,
okay.
sure. And if you were to make the claim that the words shrub and plant in the original Hebrew were referring specifically to cultivated plants like cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, then that would be something we have to look into. And
Yeah.
like you said, neither of us are experts in Hebrew, but I would need to be presented the evidence in order to be convinced that it's not a contradiction. Because from the plain English reading, it's a pretty obvious one. But I'm open to be proven wrong with a better translation or the original
Yeah.
translation.
I do know the New Revised Standard Version updated edition, which is that's three updating words: new, revised, standard version, updated edition. But that tends to be yeah.
Okay. Fourth Wiseman says, get your head checked if you don't comprehend this. Man wrote words, and those words are written by man. If you think it's God, then you need help. Iotin says, the lasting impact of the Bible is evidence that it is divinely inspired. No other work matches this. Also, we can hear all that typing. I don't know which one of you is doing it. But the lasting impact of the Bible is evidence that is divinely inspired. No other work matches this. Also, if you look into it, the modern translations are faithful to the ancient manuscripts. Jed, I think that's shot at you too.
Yeah. Regarding the very last bit, that the modern translations are faithful to the ancient manuscripts, certainly people are doing their best to make translations that are as faithful as possible. And the NRSV UE that Frito just mentioned is probably, from my understanding, one of the better ones. That being said, I'm constantly faced with people challenging me in my English interpretation of the Bible and saying, oh, you think it's a contradiction because you're reading the English version. And this literally just happened in our discussion. If you were to only read the ancient Hebrew text, you would see that there's no contradiction and everything makes sense. And that's not a shot at Frito. That's a shot at the writer of the comment, that if he's going to say that the modern translations are faithful to the ancient manuscripts, then he is preventing himself from ever using that very common excuse we see so much from apologists, where that they rely, and oftentimes for the better, because it's the correct response to some of the objections that a skeptic might bring up, that the ancient languages are a better reading than the English translations, because the English translations often get things wrong. Now, regarding the first part of the comment, the lasting impact of the Bible is evidence that it's divinely inspired. Well, I just simply reject that assertion. I don't think the impact of a book has any bearing on whether or not it's divinely inspired. The age of the book, he mentioned the lasting impact, like as if the age of it makes any difference. There's books that are way older than the Bible, like the Iliad and the Odyssey, if I'm not mistaken, are incredibly are much older than the Hebrew Bible, and those have a huge impact on modern culture. High schools make people read those books almost always, and no one thinks, or at least I doubt that this commenter believes those books are divinely inspired. And just because a book has incredible impact doesn't mean that God wrote it. I mean, look at the Quran, the second best selling book in history, if I'm not mistaken, has a huge impact. But either the Quran is true or the Bible is true, or neither one is, but you can't have both.
Thank you. Yeah, no, well said. Fourth Wiseman says, here, I'll enlighten you. Halos are real. I don't know they are created entirely, but I have legitimately witnessed one. It was a light blue iridescent hue. It floated above my chest. They're real. Shots fired. I attend member for 7 months.
I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or not. It almost seems like
It probably
he's making
sarcastic.
fun of people who make claims with just baseless assertions. But then at the same time, I mean, he's made multiple comments, so I think by the other ones we might be able to tell.
I think there's a facetiousness built into this claim. For sure. I would say member for 7 months. This is like the opposite of blood sports. I love it. I love it too. Tom Carpenter with the big hundo. My favorite color to put on the screen says, just a note. Theo Neustos?
I forget.
Theonustos is actually, I don't think the P is pronounced because it's PN, so then it would just be the N.
The P is pronounced.
Really?
I know that for some. I know so much random stuff.
Theopneustos then is actually now known to be a Koine Greek word used in non-biblical writings and indicates God as source more than the literal God breathed historically thought. Early commentators thought Paul created the word, but we now know he did not. Ooh, Tom always loves words. He loves to break down semantics of words.
Yeah.
So I'll hand it to Frito. Do you have a thought to add into that? And then we'll hand it to Jed.
Let's see. That's what I was mentioning earlier. In the Sibylline, I think in the Sibylline oracles, I think Yad is used in like a divine, like a literal divine breathing sense, and I think in I'm blanking on the name, but it's the something of Abraham, like Theopneustos, I think, is used to refer to like spices used in like wrapped up with corpses that like kind of breathe life. I think that's something I probably could use like a. I don't remember where I heard it from, but it was, yeah.
Okay. Jed, did you want to add in on that?
Yeah, only thing I'll mention, and this is way outside my wheelhouse, is like, the origin of Greek words. But the 2 Timothy is one of the Pauline epistles that a lot of scholars think is actually not written by Paul. There's, it's about half of the Pauline epistles are in dispute, and 2 Timothy and 1 Timothy are both among those. And a lot of the reason why people dispute the authorship of these books is because they use words that the other Pauline epistles that we're confident were actually written by Paul don't use those words. They use literary styles that we don't see in Paul's writings at all.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Fourth Wiseman says it's not the finding of the scrolls and publishing them that's an issue. It's that we know what they say is just a load of rubbish from an extinct language that, oh wow, a rocks tells us how now. Fair enough. And then don't show me the jigsaw nor try to tell me what it is until it's complete. In the meantime, stop making roads to nowhere. Don't show me the jigsaw. Fair enough. And then shots fired over at Frito. Don't take it personal. These come in for everyone all the time. They even send them on me. He says, Frito migrated from mom's basement to the lounge room just for all of us today. Yes, he's giving up his time today.
That kind of personally.
Don't take it personally. They say a lot of shit about me. Jed's had his fair share. Everybody takes it personal. Yeah. Don't worry. All right.
The one that offends me the most is when people make fun of my hair. Oh, it really grinds my gears.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Send in all the donos to make fun of his hair right now.
The real thing to remember with these kinds of comments is that when someone is making an ad hominem attack on you, if they're attacking you as a person rather than the arguments and concepts that you're expressing, It's because they don't have a good response to it. They don't have an argument. So rather than addressing what you're actually saying, they're trying to tear down the ideas by discrediting you. And that's a fallacy, because whether or not your claims are true has nothing to do with you as a person. So I could live in my mom's basement. I could have a really bad haircut, and it doesn't matter, because if my arguments are sound and valid and I'm making good points, then they stand and fall on their own.
Mhm. Yeah. In our crowd, our audience, we all like to poke fun at each other. Everybody makes fun of everybody. We all take the beatings. And as long as we all recognize that we laugh it off, then we're okay. Right. And we're all capable of doing that. It's definitely not for the weak, but we also know not to, again, like I said, backstage, like don't talk about anybody's wife or kids or dogs or your grandma, like stuff like that. But something like this is a fun little poke. He doesn't mean it at you the way you would think. Like he's not talking shit on you, right? It's just a fun little poke. Everybody that joins this show is living in their mama's basement, eating Cheetos on a beanbag, typing angrily on their keyboard, right? So it's like something that everybody understands is that's the norm.
Okay.
It's not that he doesn't know you. How would he know you're in your mama's basement?
I have a lot of, there's just so many specific like things that,
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Stuff like that, we all laugh them up. Trust me, I read super chats of people talking shit about me too, and I have to read it out loud on me. So it makes it even harder. All right, gentlemen, are we ready to meet our panel? I've got a lot of fun people backstage. Shaman, you're not connected back there. You gotta re-hit it or something. But hurry up and do it now. Yeah, you don't have to have Kim on. You just have to reconnect it back there, Shaman. All right. All right, I've got everyone here. Everyone's a winner. Everyone gets a trophy. Hi, Dashton. I've got Spin City, who's normally more fun in the Christian talking points, or I'm sorry, the political talking points. I'd be curious to see what he has to add to this conversation. Duck is he believes he's a philosopher, but once in a while he spews out good stuff once in a while, like probably once every 12 shows. Clay is here. I know he's big on the Christian side of things, so he's probably here to come at you, Jed. Ant is, I'm pretty sure atheist, so he might have some questions for you, Frito. Dashton, I have no common idea of where you stand here. Let me ask you this, because I do have someone else backstage who I know has a question, but Dashton, will you have a question for either of our two debaters tonight?
It's
just a yes or no. Will you have a question for you? Okay. Shaman Omar, very big into theology. I know he'll probably be able to come at both of you. And of course, Balderson, Odinism, Hail Odin, will probably be enjoying this conversation with popcorn, and you deserve a glass of wine at this rate. All right. Spin, question to you. Are you passing on this one, or do you have a question or comment?
Pass me and come back to me after the next one. I'm constructing my question.
Okay, fair enough. And as a kind reminder to everyone, this is the Q&A portion. We will be respectful. We will refrain from insulting and interrupting each other. We will ask the question, get the answer, and we will all move on. Duck, to you, sir.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, great debate, guys. I thought it was a lot of fun. I have a question that's mostly directed to Frito Lay's guy. Nice job. So I didn't, when you were talking, the one issue that I'm obsessing over now that struck me was when you talked about inspiration. And I know this is maybe above what you guys were trying to talk about, but I didn't see any way to think in terms of modality or essentialness. And so it seems a little bit odd because, I know you're focused more on theology, but how would it be the case that there's a being inspiring another being who fucking writes, right? And the fucking words they said were from the other fucking being. And
Duck,
and then there's no way to talk about what's real. Yeah,
Duck.
sorry for the
Thank you.
And then there's no way to talk about what might be real or what could be even said to be known or consistent across an argument in the first place.
I would. Like, are you asking like
another way of saying this is who wrote the Bible, and then who was the God that could have possibly inspired it?
Okay. Yeah. As for who wrote the Bible, I mean, as far as I know, most like the Bible kind of started out as like mainly oral traditions and was kind of almost like coalesced into a book. So I don't really know exactly who all the authors were, but I would say, let's see.
That's not nearly, and I'll just say this one time, that's also not nearly close to being true. There's a pathway where it is just the case that the Bible was a selection of rando fucking texts that people put together.
I think it, as far as I like, just kind of the vibe I'm getting from reading the scholarship is that most people kind of seem to think it's it was like a oral tradition that coalesced into a biblical thing. But what I would say is God, so the kind of being that is inspiring these texts is a perfect being who wants to be friends with people or something, and I guess, yeah, I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfair because I think it's asking you for a little more of a basis for, I mean, not necessary. This is why I'm sort of dissatisfied, is because I wasn't just asking about a historical basis. I was asking what on God's earth can someone even say or know about the two sort of causal agents that would be involved in inspiration in the first place, and there's nothing there, right? And it's not that you don't have an answer, it's there's not an answer.
Okay, Duck, you know what? I think that's actually a really good question. And I'd like to pin that for the open floor, and maybe Shaman or Clay can maybe assist in getting you an answer a little easier. Would that work? Okay, I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah, I'm out of vape too, Sarah.
Okay, that's all right. Spin, did you want to take your turn?
Yes, please. So this question is for both Frida Spear and Jedi up there. You talked about slaves, right? You talked about bosses and stuff like that, right? So the question comes to this. Shit.
Do you want to come back?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry,
Give
Sarah.
it some more thought. That's
it's
okay.
It's a fair question, but I want to word it correctly.
Sure. Take your time. I'll get through everyone else and I'll come back to you at the end. Okay. That way you have
That's
plenty
fine,
of time.
Sarah. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Clay, go ahead.
Oh, goody, goody. My turn. What's up, Mater Nation? Jed, Fritosphere. Nice to meet you. Frito did just fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, you did great. Listen, brother. Listen to me, okay? Listen, Linda. It's great. Listen, great. You did great. Okay, now, I would say, look, you don't have to explain anything that you believe. You don't actually have to, but because you want to, that's why you're up here. You want to be able to, and you have done that well. So we appreciate you 100%. Okay. And I want you to know that.
Thank you.
But I'm not coming
that.
after you. I'm coming after Jet, Mr. Jet. Okay. So, obviously, you're trying to impose the idea that, it's quite possible that this isn't inspired by God. Well, yeah, it's possible. However, I don't agree with that. I would agree with the statement that it is inspired of God. I agree with 2 Timothy 3:16 that it is inspired of God, right? So you came up with a lot of examples of why you believe it's not. We could tackle that one at a time. But one of the things that I do notice is that typically it's pretty much the same that happens with a lot of people who say, God isn't real, or, it's not inspired of God. The Bible isn't actually true. Typically, a lot of times things do get mistranslated. Do you actually go to the Blue Letter Bible, or do you go to the King James, or do you use some specific translation? Jed?
I think you mean the Red Letter Bible and not the Blue Letter, but
No, the Blue Letter Bible.
oh, yeah, I'm not even familiar with what a Blue Letter Bible is, but I use BibleGateway.com typically, so I'll compare different English translations. Usually, I read out of either the NIV, ESV, or NSRV, and then if I come across a particular verse that catches my eye, I'll hit the compare all English translations, and I'll go through each one and kind of. When you read all of them, I think it gives you a better understanding of what the original probably said without needing to go back and read the ancient Hebrew, because while they're all a little bit different, they tend to all say roughly the same thing. And so if you take the majority of the message behind them, then you tend to get a better idea. So I like to compare all the English translations, and some of them are pretty wild. So
Yeah, no, then that's fair.
Question.
Yeah, that's fair. And I do basically do the same. Except for that. So the Blue Letter Bible is actually a website. And what they've done is they've taken essentially all the different variations, the versions, the translations, and put them onto one website, as well as the ancient Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic. And they actually have what, I don't know if you're familiar with Strong's Info at all.
No.
Okay. So what they do is they actually break it down. They actually define each one, but you can actually take it all the way back to the original language. So you can actually go for word for word now, and it literally shows you what those defined words mean. It has like the multiple definitions for each Hebrew word, the multiple definitions for each Greek word. And so you can actually break it down. And so what's happened over, the centuries with the translations and all of that, it's been translated improperly in a lot of versions. Of course, version, that's a whole, problem in of itself. But that's something that I would suggest, because I do know that that's something that is a useful tool for people who want to actually understand what the original words, the original language means. And I think that might be one of the problems that you yourself are running into when you're trying to convey what it is that you're saying, because I know you mentioned something about the sheep. It's actually like, I just looked it up. It's like spotted. It's not striped, right? So even that little piece of information might change your view on what was actually being said there. It wasn't like a zebra stripe, zebra stripe on a sheep, you know? It was
Sure.
actually like blotches.
Well, I mean, it seems like a really inconsequential difference to me. I mean, whether it was a striped sheep or a blotched sheep, the point still stands that you can't get a blotched sheep by having two sheep mate while looking at blotched tree branches or polka dot tree branches or whatever the case may be. Looking at an object with a pattern on it will not produce offspring with that pattern on them. And it doesn't matter what the pattern is. You get offspring with a pattern by mating two organisms with that pattern. And then you can breed for certain traits by having mating pairs that exhibit those traits more than the other ones. And so the point still stands regardless of, that seems like a small difference. But was that the only translation issue that you found with me, or was there another one maybe more consequential that you noticed?
There's plenty. Let's see, like I said, we can go through each one of them fully. I don't want to spend too much time because I know this.
Let's
is
do
Q&A.
one more if that's okay.
Yeah, let me see what else I got here.
But I will check out the Blue Letter Bible because I'm always interested in improving my understanding, and I'm no biblical expert, that's for sure. So the original language is always the best translation to learn and understand. So
yes, indeed it is. When you guys were talking about slavery, you mentioned that word beat. Okay, the original language there translates it to strike. It also can mean beat, cast forth, clap, give, wounds, go forward. Indeed, it actually can translate to indeed, kill, make slaughter, murderer, punish, slaughter, slay, smite, strike, be stricken, stripes, surely, wound. So you can see here how if I take the concept behind all of these words and then I just say to beat, then I'm actually not doing the word justice in the context, right?
I think in that example, just like the one with the sheep, it's completely inconsequential. Whether you're beating your slave with a rod or you're striking them with a rod, the result is still the same. You're taking a rod and you're hitting, striking, or beating your slave with it until they're presumably unconscious. Because what the full verse says is that you may strike your male or female slave with a rod as long as they get up or wake up within a day or two. Which if we read between the lines, what it's really saying is that you can make your slaves, you can strike them so much that they become unconscious as long as they wake up within 48 hours. And the Bible authors certainly had no idea about head trauma or concussions. So it's completely unsurprising that this kind of thing we'd find in the Bible.
Take that concept, right? That you did have a mistranslation there. And every single word within that very verse that you just gave could possibly be mistranslated. You see, you are translating the whole verse by one idea that you already have in your head. Even the one word that I pointed out to you doesn't have the same meaning. Therefore, maybe, just maybe, you aren't reading the inspired word of God, but someone's version of that.
Well, I certainly agree that I'm not reading the inspired word of God, but a version of it written by some man. But in the change that you made, changing the word beat to strike changes nothing about the message of the verse. Well, sure. What do you think is the correct interpretation of that verse?
And I think his point, Clay, is that he's saying it's like using a different verb, right? But there's not much of a difference within that verb. It's like synonymous, right?
Well,
I think that's what he's trying to say.
My point is this: if I was able to change even one word, that changes the entire sentence, and you took and changed every single word in that sentence, it would be an entirely different doctrine.
Not necessarily.
Which is essentially what has been done throughout the many verses in the Bible. Every sentence has been changed in all of these different versions, and what you're reading isn't actually the original language. And there's another problem with that. And I'll move on from and let somebody else go. But there's another problem. There's colloquialisms, phrases that are used in other languages that simply just can't be translated sensibly to English, right? So this is just the concepts that I want you to understand. I mean, you don't have to. You know, I can pass you a note that has writing on it, but if you choose to read it, that's on you. If you choose to read it with your own understanding, that's also on you.
Sure. Just to respond to that, it's true that you can change the meaning of a sentence by switching one word for another, but it's also true that you could keep the meaning and the message of a sentence exactly the same while changing every single word, because many words have synonyms where if you change them out for something else, the message behind the sentence doesn't actually change in any way. Like in the example that you gave, if we change the word beat to strike, nothing about the message has changed. And I've never heard an interpretation by any Christian or any atheist that was any different than what we see written in plain text. And so far, I haven't heard from you any different interpretation than what I've gotten, only the assertion that there might be a different interpretation out there based on the original language that it seems like you haven't even looked into, because you haven't, while you were able to pinpoint one word that was different, you haven't been able to pinpoint a different message behind the whole sentence. So I'll give you another chance. What do you think is the correct interpretation of that particular verse?
I'll go ahead and let other people get in on it because Gauntlet is coming.
Okay, Clay. Yeah, we'll put a pin in that one for the translations and interpretations of the words within the Bible. We can certainly come back to that. And I'll kick it over to you, sir.
Just to Philosopher, this isn't a question. I was just going to address your earlier concession. I wouldn't consider it a loss. Like, obviously, you have gained insights into your arguments and where they're strong and where they're weak. You've got a path forward to gaining new knowledge. If you would say, one, all you've done is confirmed what you already know. Losing teaches us. So I hope you're not discouraged. And I hope you're going to make yourself a regular around here. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I would address that by saying there's a lot of this, like I had a lot of like thoughts, like actual kind of responses where I could have made my argument much stronger, but like I just couldn't find the words, and I think that's not to say like, oh, I basically won. I just no, like all I'm saying is like there's a more than you think of it can be like, yeah. I'm
Well, with practice, you learn. One good way to look at it is having certain buckets, right? If Jed said to me, the interpretations of this or blah 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 or X, Y, and Z, I would have a bucket of prepared responses to interpretations of a terminology or particular quotes from the Bible, so on and so forth, right? And the more you do this, the more it becomes second nature, and you're not even thinking about it. You're just responding. So, and I think that's what Ant is saying is I hope we see you around here more. And I hope you, especially for our open panels, just like right now, these are all people who enjoy joining open panels and working through their confidence building and working towards debates. Whether they want to do a 1-on-1 or 2v2 debate later is some want to, some don't, but most enjoy these conversations because they are testing their worldviews, but they are also it's muscle memory for your brain on preparing your responses to different things. So yeah, dashed in. Or Ant, you were done, correct? I assume. I apologize.
Hey.
Yeah, I was done.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Dashed into you, your question or comment.
Well, I seen a four-faced cherubim that's actually in the Bible and I have to read. So like I agree with everything that Jed says, and he's like amazing and stuff too. And the false, the first person. What do y'all know about the four-faced cherub being? Since I've seen this being, like I've seen this encountered or whatever, never knew it existed. It's four faces. You know what I'm talking about? What do y'all know about that? And look, it's in the Bible, inspired by God, or just somebody's testimony that they just wrote in the Bible or something. And I guess
I think I missed the key word. What
Yeah,
were
I
you
missed
asking about?
being. I don't know. It's like a four-faced cherub being. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's in the Bible. Ezekiel saw the vision.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel saw the visions, and I did too.
Yeah.
So, period.
Like,
So that means
like four faces. One of them's an eagle, one's a lion, one's some other animal, and one's a human face, and like
ox,
wings.
horse, human, blue-eyed, sandy blonde, long hair, and a lion, Leo, fire, and then eagle, the Scorpio, water, Earth, fire, water.
Yeah, what was
I've
their-
also, I've seen this. Without
Yeah, I know the creature. You
And
wanna,
Ezekiel's-
what was your question related to that?
Well, I'm just saying. Here's another thing. See, I seen and encountered this being that's in the Bible. I never had to read, which I don't, you know. So inspired by whatever, I don't know, God or whatever, and sure, maybe, but I don't know. It's just someone's wrote their testimony in there, and Ezekiel saw the visions, and I believe him because I saw the same exact thing. So that matches up. Wow. And I also see Jesus before, and he looks really pretty and all this crap. And he has like the heavenly presence of light and stuff. He's like the one that's connected to everyone, and we're this little light salt beams of crap. And if we get tuned like a Wi-Fi enough, like if you keep on doing it, you know, and seeking Jesus while you're seeking the spiritual realm, but you can see in the spiritual realm because it's actually real. You don't have to read a freaking book to do it. You have to just read a person with the glowing light, and that's all there is to that. And if I just keep on myself that way, maybe I'll eventually get on recording some more, and that's what I want to do, you know. But the four-faced cherubim, I always want to know who knows anything about it. Plus, it's in the Bible, bullcrap. Okay, it must not be bullcrap if Ezekiel saw it, and it was exactly what I saw. So,
what is the main question, Dashton?
like, what do you know about it is the question. Like, why did I see it? Why did Ezekiel see it and stuff? Somebody, I don't know. Like,
Here's if I can.
It's the entryway of the Garden Eden. Once you see all the faces, and I did, so good for me. And then it means that you're so close to God that you're almost about to see God. So it protects you from disappearing or something, and it protects God from all the other stuff too. And that's all I know about that.
So you're
Okay,
just
well,
asking me
let's
like what do I know about this creature? Like
One thing about that I got
like
to see it, and Ezekiel did, and y'all can too eventually if you want to practice this psychic ability thing that everyone in the world has. They're just ignoring it.
Okay.
You know,
If I can hop in here, I have a question for Dashton. Were you aware that of this four-faced creature before or after you had the vision of it?
I never knew it existed, never heard about it. And I go around asking all these preachers and stuff. The only way I found out was 2 months later. And I was looking up like a Egyptian dog, half body man or something, because I thought that's what the ox was. And it was a gray ox. And I was like, I didn't know what that was. But it looks just like an ox, but it looks like a dog. You know what I mean? Like the side view of it. Because I only got to see the side view of it. The left side of it, if I'm looking at it, you can see its left side, I guess, if it's doing this.
I ask because
it's
incredibly unimpressive to have a vision of the the lion, ox, eagle man if you were already aware of its presence.
No, I was never aware of it. I never knew it existed at all. I couldn't make this up. It was exactly detailed to how it's described with freaking eyeballs in its wings. I thought I was just tripping balls looking at it, but it was clear as day, and it came from these 2 mirrors behind me that were facing each other, and then it just like went in front of me. And then it slided to the left, and then it started coming towards me, and I could just stare at every one of the faces that it would change, like a strobe light changing all the faces. I could see every one of them, ox, earth, air, fire, water, every single that order, the whole entire order. Just it would change its face. It didn't have 4 heads; it had 4 faces in the same place, and it just stayed, you know, this way. It wouldn't twirl or twist or anything, just like the Bible says and all this of it. But when it came from behind me from these 2 mirrors,
can I explain where that came from?
Well, hold on, Shaman. Jed, did you have a response to that? And then we'll move to Frito.
Sure. Well, I mean, I can only speculate about why Dashton had the particular vision or experience about the creature and why it seems to align so much with how the Bible describes it. I mean, if I were to speculate, I would say it's a coincidence. I mean, people have all sorts of weird dreams and weird visions. There was one time when I was a young kid where I had a dream of a talking dog. And what's interesting too is that there's a talking dog in the apocryphal Acts of Peter. So does the fact that I dreamt about a talking dog have anything to do with the Acts of Peter being inspired by God? I mean, certainly not. But that being said, a talking dog is certainly less impressive and less specific than a four-headed beast with eyeballs all over its wings. So I'll certainly grant that that's weird and unusual, but I don't think that's enough to conclude why it happened. All we can do is say we don't know how it happened or why.
I know how it happened because I'm going around seeing spirits and crap, but I get to see that one too.
Well, Dashton, I hear your question and I understand what you're asking, right? But it's not really. It can be in light of being inspired by God, by like in terms of the Bible, but at the same time, it's still like personal and anecdotal, and not really a question that the debaters would. Like, they're not priests, right? They're not people who would be able to answer to that. And so let's put a pin in. Let's put a Let's put a pin in that one, and hold that thought for open panel, because that's a little outside the realm of what we're trying to get through with the Q&A portion.
Yeah. Can I give a quick book recommendation too?
Sure.
Dashton?
Yeah.
I don't I want to know about
this is The Unseen Realm by Michael Heiser. He's a scholar who talks a lot about just how divine beings are portrayed in scriptures. So
can you type that in the private chat? Because I probably can't spell correctly.
Yeah. I'd actually recommend a different book by him that's a little bit more accessible, I find personally. But yeah, Supernatural by Michael Heiser would probably be. And also, I don't claim to represent these scholars, because if I'm representing these scholars, that would they would not want. Michael Heiser is probably looking down from me at heaven right now, just like with his hands in his, or with his head in his hand, just like stop. Because
All right, Dashton, and we'll put a pin in that one. I'm certainly open to the conversation, but I don't think it's necessarily the best point at this point. Shaman, I'll kick it over to you, sir, for your question.
Hello, everybody. How is everyone going? I'm going to try to start from the last thing to the front. Ezekiel was in Babylon, so all you have to do is just look at the Etana myths, which is exactly like Ezekiel's story of a king getting carried to the heavens by eagles. The beast, the four-headed beast, is pretty much a carbon copy of the Lamassu, which is old Sumerian animal / Anunnaki heads. But what we don't realize is that these Babylonian Sumerians actually got it from Balderson, and Balderson's Norse high deity is created by the All-Father. Moving on, Frito, can I ask you like a couple questions for like quick response?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's your favorite color?
Whoa, okay. I like pastel colors a lot.
No, favorite color. First one that comes to your mind.
Pastel green.
Perfect.
It's nice.
What's your favorite song?
I really
first
like
one that comes to your mind.
Season 3 of Demon Slayer's intro is I was impressed. I liked it.
Okay. You don't have to justify it. And how old are you?
I'm not gonna. Is it all right if I